Cassius's exile was cruel. His father had abandoned him. The nobles spat his name, and the prince he loved was locked behind palace gates. Weeks turned into months, and still no word. In a faraway city, Cassius found work in the house of a wealthy family. They gave him food, but little else. He was treated as less than a servant, forced to labor until his hands split and bled. Yet he endured, clinging to the last words Lucius had whispered on the day of his banishment. "I will find you and be with you again. I promise you this with my life." Every evening, Cassius stood by the edge of the fields, staring at the distant horizon. The road to his old home cut across that skyline. He watched, hoping to see a chariot carrying the man he loved. But months passed, and none came. His hope began to dim. Perhaps the prince has forgotten me. Perhaps another bride now stands at his side. Meanwhile, in the palace, Prince Lucius became a shadow of himself. He locked himself in his chamber, refusing the pleas of his mother, the anger of his father, and the duties of his crown. He ate little, spoke less, and every attempt to coax him out only met silence. The kingdom, however, did not rest. Rumors of war began to spread. Nobles' homes were raided in the night, fires blazing, treasures stolen, properties burned. Though no lives were taken, fear gripped the land. Then disaster struck. The armory was raided. The great storehouse of weapons was emptied overnight. Swords, spears, shields, gone. "How shall we fight?" the people cried. "How can a kingdom defend itself without weapons?" The court was thrown into chaos. It was then the queen came to her son's locked chamber. She pressed her hand against the door and spoke softly, so only he could hear. "Lucius, if you do nothing, the kingdom will collapse. But if you rise now, you can bargain for what your heart truly desires." Her plan was bold. Secretly, she had arranged for the supposed enemy to falter. Their strength was crippled before the war even began. "Step forward, my son," she whispered. "Offer your hand to the throne in this desperate hour. When you win, they will have no choice but to give you Cassius back." And so it came to pass. Lucius entered the throne hall for the first time in months. His voice rang clear, strong, and unshaken. "Give me command of the army, I will defend this kingdom." Desperation filled the nobles' faces, and they quickly agreed. But Lucius raised his hand, his eyes sharp with fire. "Know this. When I return victorious, Cassius will return with me. Not as a servant, but as mine." The court erupted. Gasps filled the hall. The king's fury burned, but the kingdom's fear was greater. The deal was sealed. The queen's scheme unfolded as planned. The enemy faltered, their weapons useless, their supply lines broken. When Lucius rode into battle, victory was swift. His army triumphed. Songs of his bravery spread through every village and city. The savior prince, the warrior heir. But Lucius thought only of one man. Far away, Cassius toiled, weary and hopeless, until one day dust rose on the horizon. A golden chariot approached. Soldiers followed in its wake. At its head was Lucius, shining in armor, his crown tilted in triumph. Cassius froze, his breath caught. And then Lucius dismounted, his eyes locked on the only face that mattered. The prince strode forward through the stunned crowd, uncaring of whispers or gasps. When he reached Cassius, he pulled him into his arms. "No more exile," Lucius breathed. His voice shook, but his embrace was unyielding. "I have kept my vow. You are mine, Cassius, not as a shadow, not as a servant. The crown can burn, the court can rage. You are my home." And for the first time since his banishment, Cassius let himself be lead. This time Lucius did not let go.